All right, welcome to the second week of our Net Report podcast. This week we will be going over the NBA trade deadline chaos that all took place today. I'm
Nothing
here
happened.
joined with yeah, nothing happened at all. It was
Kind
a
of boring, to be
totally
honest with
boring
you.
kind of boring deadline, Nothing happened, definitely.
Oh, did I say boring? I mean, I guess if you were, a Bulls fan, maybe. But thank God none of us are Bulls fans.
Yeah, or a Heat fan,
My
If I
my
was one
dad
of those
texted me.
fans,
He's a Bulls fan, bro. He was tight. He was like, no one traded in the Bulls. He was so mad.
We'll get to those fucking losers, though.
I'm joined here with Tarique and Jacob today, and we're going to be going over all the chaos that happened today during the trade deadline. Just crazy deadline in general, probably the best we've seen in years. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and start.
Let's
Suns
start the
trade.
earliest.
Well, hold
No,
on.
no,
Let's
no.
start
Well,
the
I
earliest. We
think
gotta start right with Kyrie.
I do agree we
Well,
should probably start with Kyrie only because it's the reason Katie got traded. I don't think Katie
all
gets
right, fair.
traded if not for Kyrie. And we all have our own personal opinions and grudges with Kyrie. He's a terrible person. Just gonna throw that out there. But
No.
he kind of just remind me. Did he request a trade? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, he
Okay, so he
requested a
requested
trade.
a trade from Brooklyn because he's unhappy everywhere he goes and turns everywhere he goes into dog crap. And the Mavs ended up landing him for, I think, a slight overpay, if we're going to be very honest, from the Mavs side. I think the Nets did very good here. They ended up trading Dorian Finney-Smith, an unprotected first-round pick in 2029 and two future second-round picks. And
Yes,
I
correct.
believe Markieff Morris ended up going back to the Mavs in this trade as well. I'm not
I believe
100%
so.
sure, but I think I saw somewhere at one point that the Mavs ended up getting both Kyrie and Markieff Morris. Not that, no offense, Markieff, it's that much of a talking point.
No,
Kyrie's the
but
talking point here. They kind of stripped their entire starting depth from the Mavs to get Kyrie in an attempt that he's going to re-sign with them this
Yeah.
year. No deal was
Marquise
made
Morris
after the
did
fact
get
as
that.
far as giving him an extension, so they're kind of hedging their. Mark Cuban's kind of hedging his bets that they're going to re-sign Kyrie this offseason. I've seen a lot of talk where it's like, oh, well, even if you don't re-sign him, you got rid of a bunch of expiring deals, so you still open salary cap, but it still feels like a very high risk, high reward move for a player that has not given any team results. Like I get outside of that one championship with the Cavs, which in all fairness, that was LeBron. Just so we're being very honest. He's kind of turned everywhere he's gone to into a complete dog fire. Left Cleveland in his dust, left Boston in his dust, and now he's leaving the Nets in his dust. And at a certain point in time, you have to say, you're the problem. Like, it's so obvious Kyrie is the problem. I hope it doesn't ruin Luka because Luka's probably the most likable player in the NBA, to be honest with you.
not if you have Suns fans.
No, I forgot, but that's just honestly hysterical, and that's even funnier now for other reasons that we'll get into very shortly.
Oh
Um,
my gosh, no.
this
I
isn't
just
an,
thought about that.
this is an insane offensive backcourt that plays zero defense, doesn't even attempt to play defense. So we're gonna see going forward how this team works. I just I'm concerned for Luka's sake about how this team is gonna defend anybody at
And
all.
that's the puzzling thing with this trade. Their wings now. Their wings are Josh Green, if you even want to call them wings, because I wouldn't call them wings. Josh Green, Reggie Bullock, and Tim Hardaway Jr. They're not guarding anyone. They might as well throw me on the court to guard. Like,
Dude, I'm not
no
gonna lie. If I
disrespect.
was ever coaching a little league, I'd never throw you on the court.
I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you. But like, obviously that's hyperbole. But they're not guarding anyone. And yes, Luka, Kyrie, they have the potential to be the best backcourt in the league. That's cool and all. But they're gonna have to outscore opponents. I mean, Christian Wood's a big, but like I still think they need another big to round out that team as well. It's
If
just
this
very
trade
incomplete.
was added on to, oh shit, they traded for OG Anubwe, I'm like, or Pascal, I'm like, okay, now this is something.
Yes,
But they
exactly, and
but but they didn't add anything to this team. They just traded for Kyrie, and I'm like, this team before Kyrie got here they needed so much more help.
Mhm.
They did need that second
And
scorer, yes, but they needed better upfront presence, I thought. And you kind of traded your best secondary scorer in Spencer Dinwiddie, who, I mean, on our actual championship team's probably a 3 or a 4, just to be very honest. And Dorian Finney-Smith, who's a halfway decent defender and honestly above average defender in my opinion, a good scorer. For a problem child in Kyrie. So I'm honestly surprised the Nets got the return they did. I'm surprised other teams didn't at least pull the trigger before the Mavs did, but
Clippers are a big one.
The
I'm
Lakers
disappointed
tried.
couldn't pull it
the
off.
Lakers don't have crap to trade, and we'll get into
The Lakers tried, but they didn't
I know
want to
they tried,
trade.
and we'll get into
Nets
the
didn't
finessing
want to
they
trade
did
it.
do, but there was no way they were matching this trade offer.
No.
It
I
does.
think the Clippers certainly had a chance, but
Yeah, I think this trade screams, hey, Kyrie's trying to opt out, and we're going to try to make sure this works still with Kevin, because I think after this, the word around the league was that they were still trying to see if Kevin would stay, and then shit went ass up, and they traded him to the Suns for a king's ransom. I think that had you traded... I think had you traded him in the offseason, like before the season started, you get more than what you got. But as Tarique's about to tell you, holy crap, did they get a lot.
And as it is right here, Suns trading Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder. Don't even get me started on Jay Crowder. We'll get to him later. 4 first-round picks and a 2028 pick swap for Kevin Durant and TJ Warren.
So, yeah. Speaking
so
of
many
dropping
picks.
off your depth, the Suns...
Knicks were just out here picking up picks.
The Suns are now praying to God that a team that involves Devin Booker, who seems to be hurt once or twice a season, Chris Paul, who's at least 35 years old and hurt very often because he's so old, and Kevin Durant, who I don't think has played a fully healthy season since his
4 years?
At least since his second to last year in Golden State, at least. He's hurt now, for God's sakes. And then DeAndre Ayton, who isn't necessarily known for injury concerns, but that is not a very deep bench that is left in Phoenix. But holy mother of God, do I pray for the Western Conference teams that are going to have to guard the starting 5 of Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and DeAndre Ayton, and whoever else they throw out there.
Yeah, this is going to be probably the most potent offensive team in the West. It just makes the West even more of a dogfight.
This is the powerhouse.
This started because of Ja Morant.
No.
What you mean? What you mean by that?
Bro, you saw about the video of him saying no one in the West scares him.
Come on, no. But this team's a powerhouse now. I mean, I get why they gave up all those picks. GM James Jones wasn't very concerned about draft picks going into this trade deadline. But 4 unprotected picks is a lot. I mean, Kevin Durant's going to be 40 by the time that 2029 pick conveys. So
Kevin Durant probably won't be on that team. He might. I'm be honest. Kevin Durant might not be in the league.
Exactly. I mean, it's hard to expect anyone to be playing at 40. I mean, it's just insane. And I think a lot of people were low on the Nets for this trade. Oh, that you traded Durant. The whole Kevin Durant, Kyrie, James Harden experiment. It was a colossal failure.
They pulled
which
Danny
it
Ainge.
It was, but given the situation they were in at the trade deadline, I think they made a very good haul. Like, people seem to be,
so many
picks. Exactly. They did the reverse Nets, ironically. They traded all their picks for KG and Paul Pierce back in the day. Now it's the reverse effect, and they're going to have picks to rebuild now, especially because they didn't have their own picks for quite some time. They have Mikal Bridges, who's going to be a great 3-and-D wing for them to, not build around, but he's a piece. Cam Johnson.
I just want to cut in here real quick, by the way, just so we're all aware. Mikal Bridges was second last year in Defensive Player of the Year. He lost out only to Marcus Smart, who had a phenomenal year last year. This is a Defensive Player of the Year runner-up who can also score, mind you. Like, that's a very good player to.
Very valuable.
Yeah, he is, and I'm pretty sure they just signed him to an extension this past offseason.
Mhm.
Cam Johnson's a serviceable player, but like look at how this lineup. They have a ton of great role players. You got Joe Harris. You got Seth Curry. You just got Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie. Like back, let's go back 10 years where there wasn't super teams across the league. That's a middle of the pack playoff team.
Are we
But
sure this team falls out of the playoffs? Because I think they're 32 and
no.
20.
No.
The Nets don't. I think they fall out of the secured spot. I think they're going to be a play-in team.
Mhm.
But they make the playoffs still. I think that I can't officially call the Nets a winner just because I still feel like if you were going to go this route of, okay, well, Kevin Durant doesn't want to be here anymore, so now we got to trade him, and you're kind of just punting on the season. At that point, why not trade? You have an excess of like great role players, some really good 3-point shooters. Why not trade some of them? Why not ship off Joe Harris or Seth Curry? Like, I get you want to have this culture and you want to attract free agents, but you're not hedging on now. You're hedging on probably 2 to 3 years of what your future is going to be. Why not trade some of these guys for some more picks? Like, it just seems like Spencer Dinwiddie especially, and Dorian Finney-Smith, those aren't guys you really want to build this team around. You brought them in to see if Kevin Durant might want to stay. I feel like you could have probably flipped those for something. Especially Spencer Dinwiddie. He would have been a great complement to any team, really, who needs guard scoring.
I think a lot of that has to do with like for example, Finney Smith, he's under contract I think for a couple more years. I don't know the exact length. So they're probably waiting towards the offseason to where they can unload some of these guys for more picks that aren't in their future plans. Dinwiddie's, of course, I'm almost positive is expiring.
I'm pretty
Would have
sure.
been nice if but can't really deal him, you don't want to force anything all of a sudden. So I get it. They're on a lot of they have a lot of weird players together, but maybe it's like that Nets team, I think it was 2018, 2019 with D'Lo where they just
It
they
was
they make the
2019
playoffs.
because that was the last year Kyrie played with the Celtics.
Yeah. So maybe it's a weird playoff run like that where like the team looked nice, but obviously it's kind of hard to expect that in with only like 27 games left. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know. I either way, I like the trade for both teams. I think the Suns obviously they get the best player. Yes, they had to give up their future, but if they win a championship,
oh
who
yeah, I
cares?
mean, grand scheme of
They're
things, it's now or never for the Suns. If they
like
don't
they're
win it this year, they're fucked.
well, no, I wouldn't say that. They definitely got next year because
Okay,
it's gonna take
yeah.
time for them. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time for them to gel. It's this year's not a must win, but
Yeah.
next year probably is. Especially because Durant's gonna be on an expiring deal next year. I
I
think
think
he'll
Chris
eventually
Paul's on a aspiring
resign.
year next year.
I'm not too much worried about Chris Paul. No offense to Paul, but he doesn't have a lot left in the tank, anyways. I don't think he's as crucial as he was before, but you're hedging your bets on Durant resigning, which, of course, I don't want to say it's a big if because I think the chances are greater than 50%.
I
But
wish Paul got a ring.
well, he might be able to. He might be able to after this, but they'll be good at least for the next 3-4 years if Kevin Durant resigns. So they should be able to win a chip in that time. There's no reason. They're definitely, I would argue, they're the favorites now in the Western Conference. So
Oh, without
Yeah, you
question,
got
are the favorites in the Western Conference.
I mean,
Again, it
you
comes
have
down
big
to
names
health.
like Kevin
obviously,
Durant and Devin Booker on there. You're gonna have people want to come to play with you.
I
chemistry is going to be a big factor in that, but we'll see. I mean,
I just don't know how you guard it. Like up, like
no, it's going to be like the Warriors again, almost to a lesser degree, of course. But Kevin Durant's gravity is just going to make things so much easier for Devin Booker, even DeAndre Ayton, who has had a down year. He hasn't taken as many shots. He hasn't really ever taken that step you wanted. He'll be able to play his role better and have more space inside because there's going to be gravitating the defense so outside trying to guard Durant, Booker. So it'll open things up for the other players as well, which I think is huge for Phoenix, especially given they don't have a lot of depth, which again, they can go in free agency and build some depth. So, like I said, big reason why I don't think it's must win this year, but they're going to be looking like one of the favorites. I mean, it's like I said in this Western Conference, it's tough, but boy, are these playoffs gonna be fun?
Yeah, no,
No,
it's again. I think everyone's clamoring for it for the Mavs Suns rematch in the playoffs right now, just to get that Kyrie versus
I would
KD
love
thing.
that.
I guess I forgot to mention when we're talking about the Nets roster after this. Hashtag Ben Simmons question mark.
Oh, he's left all alone. He's got no value. I mean, he's gonna have to rebuild his value from there. I mean, we'll see what happens with him over the next couple years, but man, is it looking bad.
He's on
yeah.
a max contract. That is actually
Hmm.
wild to me.
It's funny.
Think about the players that the 76ers have given max contracts to. Tobias Harris,
Yes.
Ben Simmons. Look at how much money they paid Al Horford to come over there. No disrespect to Al Horford. I love him. He's on my team. He's excellent. But if anyone remembers, holy hell did they overpay for him.
I think it was 17 million a year.
I think it
Something
might have been
crazy
more.
like that.
It might have been more than that. I'm gonna be honest with you. It might have been close to
Hmm.
20. Um, but
I did not know that.
like that's the problem with this NBA, bro. We're just handing out left and right max contracts because of like one decent year for a young player, and it's like, what are you like? You're giving this guy 35 million a year, and he can't even score 15 points a game. Like,
I will say though, I think the max contracts have kind of died down in the last couple years. You still see the trickling ends of it from like Tobias Harris from deals 4 or 5 years ago, but I don't think the problem is as bad. But man, teams need to be more weary of who they're giving these contracts to.
like, Jesus. But yeah, I don't know what you do with Ben Simmons at this point. Part of me said, like, I don't think you can get anything for him. I don't think there's a team who would want to trade for him. He's shown, like, everyone was like, oh, he'll go from Philly to the Nets and he'll kind of rebuild his value with Kevin Durant and Kyrie. He hasn't done that though. He's just
Hmm.
like, if anyone watches him, he's just scared to shoot. Like, he just seems more scared to shoot than when he was in Philly, which is crazy to me. Like, he's just broken.
I
Like,
saw a funny stat yesterday, actually, considering
Oh
Ben
no.
Simmons. It was Cam Thomas the last 3 games. It was like an insane amount of points. It was like 120 something or
yeah, he
130
scored
something,
40,
right?
40 in
Because,
3 straight games, so at least
yep.
120.
And then it showed Ben Simmons' points for the last 20 games 120. That's just,
Jesus.
it just goes to show you, man. Like,
I'm pretty sure one's on a rookie minimum, the other's on a max contract.
exactly. His values just plummeted so bad, and even his defense hasn't really saved him. We've seen this with players who you're like, yeah, his defense, that's his game. We've seen it with like Matisse Thybulle, who's kind of fallen out of rotations because his offense is so bad, even though he has great defense. We've seen it with Ben Simmons now. You need to at least have some offensive game.
It
Like,
comes down to having confidence in your offense.
mhm,
Because look, there's this whole idea of, oh well, defense can carry a subpar offensive player. Look at Draymond. He still has confidence in his shot. He's not very good offensively, but he's still going to shoot that ball. Look at Marcus Smart. I don't know if he's ever really been above a 34%, 35% 3-point shooter. And he's kind of a defensive first, pass first point guard. But if you ever watch him play, he's a very confident shooter.
yeah.
That's
Look
what.
at
Like
Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
No,
Anyways,
no. He needs to lose some confidence. He needs to lose some confidence.
FBI, if you're
We'll get
listening,
into.
we need to get this man arrested. He must be on drugs. Um, but like that's what separates them, like a Draymond and a Smart, from Ben Simmons. Dude is a broken man. Like, I don't know if it's confidence or like if he just genuinely is that bad offensively, but he doesn't even want to like go for the layups anymore. He doesn't want to shoot the ball. Like, there's no attempt anymore. At least in his early days in Philly, he would attempt mid jumper shots, and every now and then we saw a 3-pointer. But like, what is going like what the hell? What happened?
And it just
Ben
goes to show
Simmons.
what
What
happened.
happened?
No, but it just goes to show you how like dysfunctional and how much of a failure this Nets experiment was. And it's unfortunate because I know a lot of people give the Nets GM and the front office a lot of crap, but come on, when you have a chance to sign two of the top players like in the NBA, you're going to do it. You
And
can't
then they traded
anticipate.
for James Harden.
You can't anticipate Kyrie doing the things Kyrie. I mean, I guess maybe you could, but come on, you're not really gonna go in anticipating that. You don't anticipate the whole James Harden thing. You don't anticipate a global pandemic messing everything up. You don't anticipate Kevin Durant's shoe size being one size too big, his foot being on the line, and they don't win that series against the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, just so many unfortunate things that I don't think even the best like ran organization would have been able to handle.
That feels like
So
yesterday, and that was 2 off seasons ago.
it's
Wow.
just so unfortunate for them, but and that's why I don't think they should be looked down on as much as everyone's looking down on them. It's like, come
All right,
on,
this isn't a
like,
Nets
what do
failure.
you do
They
with?
did the best they could with the crap situation. I mean, and it's not like, oh, they only got these players. Look at the role players they've had around them. They've had Joe Harris there this entire time. They developed and picked up Nick Claxton, who's looking like a defensive player of the year right now. They I'm pretty sure drafted this Cam Thomas kid. They have guys like Seth Curry, who they ended up getting in the Ben Simmons deal, but it's not like they haven't been getting guys to play. I mean, they don't have the deepest bench, I'll mind that, but like it's not like they have been running a bad team. I will say the hiring of Steve Nash was never a popular decision from me. I always thought that was a pretty poor decision. And I thought things were really starting to turn around once Vaughn kind of took over the ship. I thought things were really going well, and then KD got hurt for a little bit there, and then the whole Kyrie fiasco of like they were losing all these games, and then just got absolutely blown out to the Celtics, and that just seemed to be the final nail in the coffin for whatever reason. But it just seemed like they amassed all these divas, and that's what happens sometimes when you amass divas. James Harden left because he's James Harden. Kyrie is a bad person, and when the Nets tried to discipline him for being a bad person, this is what happens. And then I think eventually KD just kind of said he was tired. Like, I don't blame KD. I mean, but man, I gotta feel bad for the Nets fans and Nets owners. Like, this is not what they paid for, man.
No, it's not.
And the insane part was they were the second seed like a few weeks ago before the KD injury. Everything looked so good. They looked like they're going to be title contenders. And
that's what I'm saying. After the Nash firing and they went to Vaughn, things looked really good. Like, things looked really, really good for them.
Just complete chaos. I mean, I guess this is why we love the NBA, but
it just seems like problems follow the same players everywhere. Everywhere they go, it's these players. It's not the teams, it's the players.
Yeah.
And that's a theme in the NBA. I mean, players, they control the league. It's not like the NFL or the MLB, you know. They control the league. I mean, it makes sense. There's only so many players in an NBA team, and you get one or two of the best, you're in contention every year. But yeah,
it's something, and we won't really know. I mean, regardless of how these picks turn out, I feel like it's still a win for the Nets just because these players clearly wanted to leave. So the fact that you even got picks in return in the first place is good. You weren't going to win. I mean, once Kyrie left, you weren't going to win a chip, to be honest with you. And so I guess you might as well punt on it. We'll see what they do in the offseason. Like you alluded to earlier, I think they are going to flip some of these guys for whatever they can get. It's just a mess. They're is just
pull a thunder.
I don't know if it'll be that bad because they actually have some decent players. But the other thing to this is that I think this year is a pick swap, but next year the Rockets have the Nets pick for quite many years. I think it alternates.
No, the pick swap isn't until 2028.
No. The Rockets, they because they gave the Rockets a ton of picks for James Harden. They gave the Rockets like 3 pick swaps and 3 first-round picks, if I'm not mistaken. I think this year is a pick swap with the Rockets. So, I mean, obviously the Rockets pick is going to be better than the Nets pick. But next year, I think the Rockets have the Nets pick.
That's gonna get interesting. I mean, they'll both probably still be bad, so it won't be like as awful as
Well, I
it could
mean,
be. But
next year it will be when they don't have their own first round pick, and the Rockets are still going to be awful because they're in
oh no, you're
a
right. Yeah, because next year's not a swap.
No,
You're right.
I'm
You're right. So
we can double check this, but I'm pretty sure it was 3 pick swaps and 3 picks went for the James Harden trade, and it alternates. So I think this year's a pick swap, next year's a pick, and then so forth for like the next 6 years.
it's insane.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous trade to begin with. I never understood that. The fact the Rockets pulled that off was downright insane. That's where I do blame part of what Josiah and this front office was doing for the Nets. But I digress. I guess the last thing to kind of wrap up this Nets, Suns, Mavs discussion before we go into some smaller trades and then the just kind of the madness that was today is the Suns got a new owner yesterday, and within 5 hours he just gave everything away for Kevin Durant. Brand new, first day on the job, Suns owner said, "Give me Kevin Durant," and they just fucking.
I want Iguodala.
Oh my goodness.
The Martians have the death laser on you. Who are you gonna choose, Steph Curry or Andre Iguodala? Give me Iguodala.
Oh man, that meme will never go away.
Would just like everyone to know that in this household, we love Max Kellerman. We really
I don't know who that
love.
is.
He's the one who said, "Give me Iguodala."
Give me Iguodala.
See, this is why we have Tarique here for this excellent commentary.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent commentary. Speaking of the Nets trades, no, I'm playing.
Anyways, let's just go into some smaller trades before. I just want to go do a roundup because there were some other smaller trades before we really got into these bigger ones. We obviously talked about Rui last week.
There's another big one.
Well, no, before we get into some of the bigger ones, I want to talk about some of the small ones that led up until the Lakers won. Dwayne Dedmon got traded to the Spurs in a cap dump by the Heat. That's whatever trade. That was the only trade the Heat did for some reason. The Kings got Kessler Edwards from the Nets. Again, kind of like a salary dump by the Nets. Our last kind of like whatever trade before we get into some bigger ones. Not whatever trade, but for some reason the Blazers traded Josh Hart to the Knicks. I mean, cool for the Knicks. Not really sure what the Blazers are doing here, but I don't have it with me right now. But I want to say they got a first. They got Cam Reddish and I'm gonna butcher his name, but it's like Svi Mayulak.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
Um,
Shvi I'm not even
I
trying to
mean,
pronounce the last name.
not that this isn't a bad return for the Blazers, but I'm not really sure what they're doing here. But whatever, they got a first, and Cam Reddish, who has really never shown his potential. Right after that trade was announced, a doozy of a trade came out last night, including the Lakers just downright fleecing the entire NBA. Just to break it down team by team, the Lakers got D'Angelo Russell, which, if anyone remembers when he was on the team, is funny as hell why he's back on the team. Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt. Mike Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker and a future second was traded over to the Timberwolves, and Russell Westbrook, Damian Jones, and Juan Toscano-Anderson, and the very coveted 2027 first-round pick was traded to the Jazz. So this is a 3-team deal with the Lakers, Timberwolves, and Jazz. This has kind of been rumored for the past couple days. Like, we kind of saw we kind of saw separate variations of this being rumored for different days. We saw the whole D'Lo to Lakers thing, and I didn't really expect it to happen just because of the history there. But the Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt always seemed like a very juicy option for the Lakers to go towards. The fact that they got all 3 of these players, and these are all starting caliber or 6-man caliber players, they got all 3 of these guys for Russell Westbrook, who they just wanted to dump for salary. Like, in the offseason, when they were looking to ship Russell Westbrook, the whole idea was if you can't trade him unless you trade the first round pick. So the idea was, oh, well, you're not going to get anything good in return. So they got 3 starting caliber players, like essentially 3 through 5 starting caliber players for Russell Westbrook, Damian Jones, who doesn't play, Juan Toscano-Anderson, who didn't really play for the Lakers, and the 2027 first round pick, which has been their very highly coveted one.
Yeah,
I-
it's just insane that they got so much value for a pick that we'll get into later. It's
Oh, yeah.
protected, and the stipulations
Is
aren't even that great for the
insane.
Jazz.
We're not going to get into this later. We're going to talk about it right effing now. It's a top 4 protect. It was said lightly protected, and then they said top 4 protected. I'm like, okay, I mean that's not lightly protected. That's pretty decently protected for the fact that I'm pretty sure LeBron's only extended through 2024, maybe 25.
I can't imagine LeBron's still here in 2027.
No, but he's only. I think he's only extended through 2024 or 2025. And so the idea of why that trade was so valuable is, oh well, they're probably going to be pretty bad. So it's top 4 protected for the Jazz. And the craziest goddamn thing happened last night when we all found out if it doesn't convey in 27, it is immediately turned into a second round pick that very year, which is just
insanity.
Does that mean the Lakers get back the first round?
Yeah. Basically,
That's wild.
if the pick doesn't land, if the pick lands in the top 4 for the Lakers that year, if they are so bad and they happen to win the lottery, then instead of giving the Jazz their first round pick, they give them their second round pick.
Yeesh.
And this is all reported per Zach Lowe. I was just when I saw that tweet, I was just dumbfounded.
It's not real. There's no way. I've never seen a trade that almost immediately converts into a second round pick ever in my life.
No, well, it has happened.
I understand, but a pick of this magnitude, this is like the most coveted
in the Dwight
pick.
Howard trade. I remember being very upset. It happened in the Dwight Howard trade. It was weirder. It had to convey like 2 years in a row or something like that, and then it became 2 seconds. But this one, I'd argue, is even worse.
Yeah, but 2 years is different. This is like same year. That's downright insane. I want to break this down team by team. I mean, the Jazz is easy to talk about just because they kind of got just the whatever return. Russell Westbrook's going to get bought out. I mean, Russell Westbrook's not going to play for the Jazz ever. He's probably never going to fly to Utah. He's getting bought out, and we'll have a discussion later about where he's going to go to. But oh God, Russell Westbrook. Damian Jones will probably never play a minute for the Jazz. Juan Toscano will probably be a decent rotational player for the Jazz. And then they got the first round pick. I get why the Jazz make this trade. I think I love this trade for the Jazz if that pick isn't protected the way it is. But we'll see.
They'll get to bottom out for Victor Wembanyama at least this year, which if you look at the standings, everyone's so close together. They go on a losing streak after trading most of their good players. They'll be the 5th or 6th worst team. That's still decent odds to get a top at least 1 or 2 pick because the big prizes are Victor and Scoot Henderson. So I get the rationale, and that's probably
I get it. It just seems I'd be over the moon for this trade if that pick just wasn't the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love the. I mean, and listen, this could be the number 7 in 2027, the number 7 overall pick, and I won't say a word. But the way that it looks right now, oof. There's way too much risk with that pick, man.
Yeah. I will say, with the new draft lottery system, I think it's a almost like I think even if you have the best odds, it's like only a 48% chance or something crazy. Like you can look at it on Tankathon, but you can fall to 5 really easily, even if you're the number 1 best odds.
I think all you need is one person to jump, right?
No, you still need a bunch of people to jump, but it's like it's weird. Tankathon breaks down the percentages, but it's very easy to fall down from to 5. Even if you're the number 1. Like I'm looking right now on Tankathon, it says the top 4 percentage. Even if you're the top for a top 4 pick, even if you're the number 1 best odds, you only have a 52.1% chance at a top 4 pick, which means you have a 47.9% chance at number 5, which just insanity. So maybe they're betting on that, but it's like a coin flip. I don't know. I don't love it.
And we'll go into the Timberwolves real quick. They get Mike Conley Jr., great locker room guy, great starter. He'll be a good veteran presence for that Timberwolves team that's going to likely be a first or second round out. They're not really going anywhere, but cool. I want to say Mike Conley's expiring, to be honest with you.
Yeah. They
So,
traded an expiring for an expiring, so
yeah, and they also
yeah.
got a future second and Nikhil Alexander-Walker, who I think has some interesting potential. So we'll see. And again, the big one in this trade is the Lakers getting D'Angelo Russell, who will be their starting guard. Malik Beasley, who will be one of their new starting forward, and Jarrett Vanderbilt, who will probably come off the bench. But that's an insane return. Like, in no way did I see them getting all three of those players. I saw them in separate universes getting half of those with the first round pick in Russell Westbrook. But the fact that they got all three is just mind boggling. Rob Pelinka absolutely fleeced the NBA. Like, this is going to be. I still don't think, let's just be very clear, the Lakers are not winning the title.
They might not even make the playoffs still, which
at this point, I feel like they'll at least get a play-in spot.
But
with this.
they're going
They
to be
should.
competitive now. Like, they won't be an embarrassment that they have been. This is a very competent starting five. You're gonna have LeBron. You're gonna have D'Lo starting. Malik Beasley's probably gonna start. Anthony Davis is gonna start.
If he's healthy.
Don't get me started. I'm trying to think who their other starter is gonna be now.
I mean, they can go between Rui. They can go between.
No, they
it's
won't have.
probably gonna be
No,
Rui.
they won't go Rui. Oh yeah, starting. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. That'll be interesting if they start him or Bamba.
No,
Yeah.
they're definitely not going to start Bamba. No way. That would be.
Part of me says they do
Something.
because Rui's better offensively. You want him to come off the bench.
I don't know.
We'll get into it in a little bit. We'll get into it a little bit.
But
one thing I do want. Oh no, I'll let you go, Tarique. I'll let you go.
No. You're still on this trade, so keep going.
All right. One thing I do want to point out for the Lakers. I mean, these players, they're all really amazing fits when you think about it. Russell's gonna obviously add scoring. He's a better fit next to Braun. We've seen with Kyrie in the past. Braun does well with the scoring guard. Russell will just have to learn to defer to LeBron, of course. Because that's what guards have to do with LeBron. LeBron likes to handle the ball because he's one of the best ever to do it. So yeah, I'm sure they'll be able to work that out, whether it's this year, if I don't know if he resigns, but let's say in a universe he resigns and he's here next year, they'll figure that out. The pick and roll with AD can be very nice. That'll be interesting, a Russell AD pick and roll, but we'll see. He's definitely the one piece I'm like, the fit's gonna be interesting. We'll see how this works. Vanderbilt's just an amazing ad. He's gonna add hustle, great defense. He can arguably guard almost all positions. He can at least guard the 3 through 5.
3 through 5 easily. Yeah.
The 2 through 5, I'd argue, but it just depends
with
on
how most
quick
teams
the
are
guard
made up
is.
in the Western Conference, 2 through 5.
Mhm.
You don't see many small guard combos outside of really the Mavericks, really. But even then, they're not small guards. So I would argue, 2 through 5. And then Malik Beasley, excellent 3 and D guy.
Yes.
More hustle. That's what this fucking Lakers team needed. Hustle.
Mhm.
And listen, they've been, I want to say, halfway decent defensively all year. They just haven't been able to score for their life. So
Mhm.
this is going to be a team that has, coming off the bench, they're going to have Dennis Schroeder still. They're going to have Lonnie Walker still. They're probably going to have Vanderbilt on
Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves. They're probably going to have they have Max Christie off the bench now. We're going to get into it later, but they have Mo Bamba coming off the bench now.
They have a deeper team than
I
remember looking
it's
at
not
their
just deeper.
3 through 10.
These are better. These are actual NBA players. They were
Mhm.
playing non-NBA players before this. These are real life NBA players. They're going to have 1 through 10.
I remember looking at their 3 through 10 earlier in the season and thinking, wow, this might be the worst 3 through 10 I've seen in a long time. Like, just down the board, it felt like it was literally LeBron and AD versus the world, and it doesn't really feel like that. We've seen Schroeder kind of get into his own. He's been a lot better over the second, kind of half of the season. We've seen players finally starting to get at least a little bit healthy, and now they bring in all this talent. It has the potential to be really good. They're obviously going to have to gel together. And I think this is more of a move for next year than this year because they're so far down the hole. I don't know how realistic it is to expect them to compete this year, but overall,
It's
it's just a great trade for them.
it's going to be tough, and it frees up a lot of salary next year, which is the big thing that this Lakers team needed. They put themselves in a bad position for a couple years now with the trades that they have made and the contracts they've signed.
Yeah.
This now allows them to free up some cap space next year, getting off that Westbrook contract. D'Angelo Russell's expiring. I know Malik Beasley has a 17 million team option next year, or maybe it's 12 million. It's one of those two. We'll see where that goes. My best guess, if it's 17 million, my best guess would be they decline it, but it's hard to say. And I think Vanderbilt's a restricted free agent coming into next season.
No, I think he's got a couple more years on his deal. I remember looking it up earlier today. I'll fact check it real quick, but
But yeah, my
um,
my best guess was that if D'Angelo Russell fits halfway decently, they probably sign him to a team friendly extension for 2 to 3 years. And
Yeah, no, there's a lot of shit going for this Lakers team that this future it really is built around what they just did.
and we'll
Vanderbilt signed through 2023 to 2024, so he'll have at least one more year.
Okay, and we'll talk about just real quick with the other things the Lakers did. The one that really kind of surprised me, and I guess it's not as surprising after what they did later. They traded Thomas Bryant, who I thought has been one of the kind of
So
unspoken
I looked
heroes.
into that. Because I was upset about that because I really liked Thomas Bryant, but he asked to leave because he was getting upset with his time once AD came back. He felt like he should have been playing more, and then he asked to leave.
I haven't seen that
That makes
reported or looked
sense.
into it. I'll go with your word, but I
I
haven't seen that reported anywhere. But in all honesty, Thomas Bryant was signed as a bench big coming into the offseason.
I think I
Yeah,
did see that somewhere. I don't remember from who, but I did see the report somewhere. I just don't remember who.
But
I don't remember
he
where I
was one
saw
of
it,
the
but I
bright
saw that.
spots
I
of
was
this
like, damn.
team. And he was traded for Devon Reed and for whatever reason, 3 second-round picks. And as we'll get into soon, second-round picks were thrown around like candy today. Following this trade for the Lakers, they went out and just kind of dumped Patch Bev and a second-round pick for Mo Bamba. Um, Coming out of the D'Angelo Russell trade, I had a feeling they were going to dump off some guards because they kind of were top heavy on guards. Pat Bev did seem to be the odd man out just because he doesn't really provide too much offensively for you on a team that is decently defensively as it is. So to get a backup big in Mo Bamba who can shoot the three real well, he's had a pretty bad year this year, but he has the potential to be a pretty good rim protector, and he's very good from not very good. He's a competent 3 point shooter, and that's going to add a lot of dimension to this Lakers team from the bench side.
I will argue with you on the Bomba point. I feel like his motor, and this is coming from a Magic fan who's watched him for 5 years now. His motor has just never been there. Hope maybe with the Lakers team you'll see it, but like it's hard to expect them to be very, motivated defensively. I feel like he always gets outboxed, even though he's the biggest person on the court. Um,
Listen, man,
it's
there's a reason he's going to be on the bench.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Just very simple. There's a reason he's going to the bench.
Mhm.
It's still it's listen, after they traded Thomas Bryant, this is probably the best they were going to get. I thought that they could probably get more, but you're only trading Pat Bev, who's expiring as it is. And you got it's still a second-round pick out there. So, I mean, whatever, I guess. It's a trade. Um, Mo Bamba will be interesting, though. Last night,
Yeah.
the other big trade to happen right before kind of everyone found out about Kevin Durant, exploding the world. Um,
1
Jakob
a.m. I was asleep.
Jakob Pertl, got traded over to the Raptors in a quite surprising move. This is the one team I didn't really expect to go after Pertl, for Kem Birch, who I have to imagine expiring. First round pick in 2 seconds. This is about what I expected the Spurs to get in return. I guess it's just interesting that the Raptors are trading for him, and considering that they're almost barely in playoff contention for the play-in, to give up a first round pick in 2 seconds, it would seem to me as if they're dead set on re-signing Jakob.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I like the fit for the Raptors, but Chris, you can touch on it some more soon. But you got to maneuver that off front that starting lineup because man, is that a big starting five.
He's
Um,
a he's he's a great center. Don't get me wrong.
oh
He'll
no,
be
I
a
love
great starter
him.
for all teams, but this just feels like such a weird move from the Raptors. We were expecting them to sell this trade deadline, and instead of selling, they ended up buying in Pearl, which I don't think's a problem. But they didn't sell anyone else, and now you've got just a huge lineup of. I mean, Fred VanVleet's not really that huge, but everyone else in the lineup. I mean, you got Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Jakob Pertl. Now you got to play. I imagine you want to
All
play
four
four
of
of them
them.
in the lineup. So now are you bringing Gary Trent off the bench, who I guess not a big deal. He's not going to be back next year, I imagine. And then Fred VanVleet, who knows if he's coming back, but that's just it's a long lineup without like a ton of shooting. I don't love like the fit and spacing. I feel like I don't want to say one has to go because they're all talented players. I mean, Scotty Barnes has a ton of potential. I would never say give up on him at this point. I know he's had a down sophomore season, but come on, OG Anunoby, super valuable. We expected them to, if they traded anyone, to trade him, but they didn't. Siakam's obviously their best player. I don't know if you want to give up on him. It's just that team is weird. And yes, maybe they're not looking for towards fit this year. They're looking towards, all right, we have all these assets. Who can we move in the off season when we have more time to construct a deal, get more value? Seems like the very it seems like the Raptors' way of thinking. It's you know,
I just don't think that they saw the value that they wanted to for OG Anunoby to kind of trade him is what my assumption would be. Um, so yeah, it's just weird. Weird. I don't know.
mhm.
It doesn't really affect too much this season. They're gonna make the play in. I don't know if they're gonna make more than the play in. And a Nick Nurse team with which is weird because this starting five is a good starting five. I think they're going to
Mhm.
be a dangerous team in the play-in. I just don't see them beating a top 3 team in the playoffs in a 7-game series. We'll
Mhm.
see though. Um, I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't see more from the Raptors, uh, but it kind of the story kind of seemed to be heading in the direction of no one wanted to trade their first round picks if they had them, and everyone kind of either just wanted to dump salary or trade second round picks.
Second round pick extravaganza. I've never seen so many. It was like they were playing 2K, adding them to the trade finder, seeing what they could get. Oh man.
Yeah. Coming into today though, just kind of going into some minor trades. Boston ended up trading for Mike Muscala from the OKC Thunder. They gave up Justin Jackson, who just salary filler and a second round pick. Great third big for the Celtics to have coming off the bench. Defense is fine. He's I think a lifetime 40% 3-point shooter, so that's good for the Celtics come off the bench. That's really all they did today, and they'll probably play the buyout market. I mean, Chris or Trey, do you have any thoughts on that? Or
I mean he'll help the team out. I don't think it's a bad move. I wish they would have done a little bit more, but like you said, this team's very complete. So I mean,
they just need another wing, to be honest. And I just don't think that they really wanted to trade any of their assets. Like they're really only assets right now. We're trading Pritchard and Gallinari to package them together, and I just don't think there was anyone really out there to get, to be honest.
mhm.
So,
I don't know.
the
There
Bucks.
wasn't very much big trades besides like oh you're about to get into all the smaller ones, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of
Yeah,
go down
yeah.
the line. The Bucks dumped George Hill's salary today for a second round picks to the Pacers. They were just trying to shed some cap there. Um, I will get into this one real quick because this one kind of shocked me and it's very low key. I think. The Blazers got Matisse Thybulle from the Sixers in a 3-team deal trade. Um, the Hornets were also involved. They'll get believe 2 to 3 second round picks and Svi Mike Holliak from the Blazers, who they, like I mentioned earlier, got from the Josh Hart trade. And the Sixers got Jalen McDaniels in return from the Hornets, which I'm going to let Chris roll into, but I think this is the most low-key and, in my opinion, outside of the Kevin Durant one, the most interesting trade of the trade deadline.
It most certainly is. It's one we didn't really expect, but it fills a major need for the Sixers. And I remember I was looking at the trade like, who cares? And then I was reading through the comments. I was like, wow, you know what? I'm really underestimating this trade. This is something that's gonna help the Sixers out a lot. He's a big that's gonna be able to either play small ball center, or he'll be able, when it beats off the floor, or he'll be able to just help all around for the Sixers team. That's, I mean, obviously has needed depth. I think it's a great trade, one that hasn't really been talked about. So shout out to the Sixers for making a great move. I wasn't anticipating this, and for their sake, it's great. It'll help them contend in the playoffs. It helps them fill a need.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing with the Sixers is you just kind of hope and pray that you can score when Embiid has to rest, because the dude's basically made of glass if he plays too many minutes. Like, not throwing shade at Embiid, but for bigs, when they get overplayed, we can see how easily they break. And Embiid's had injury problems in the past, especially with those knees. So they need someone to come off the bench, even if it's in a small ball role, to kind of relieve the stress. So this is excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. This is my second favorite trade outside of the Durant trade. Just flat out my second favorite trade. I don't think anyone's talking about this. I think this has a very significant impact. Going into kind of continuing from the Durant trade, Jay Crowder, like we said, was traded to the Nets, and we kind of all figured he wasn't going to be staying there. So the Bucks decided that they were going to join the second round pick sweepstakes and send 5 second round picks. Yes, you heard that correctly, ladies and gentlemen. 5, F-I-V-E. That's how you spell 5. Second round picks. Again, I would like to repeat that. 5 second round picks. And
The
Serge
hilarious-
made it to the Nets, and then they're like, "Nah, we're just gonna send you to the Bucks."
So yeah,
Whoever
5 second round
sent
picks
around like a
and
cheap
Serge
porn
Ibaka
star.
for Jay Crowder to the Bucks, who's a very good 3-and-D player who has been on multiple champion contending teams, to a very needy very need of 3-point scoring Bucks team. I'll pass it over to you, Chris. What you got for me from this?
I mean, I don't think it's going to fill the role to this extent, but it reminds me of the trade for PJ Tucker when they won the championship. It fills a wing need. That's something I feel they've been lacking since they lost PJ Tucker, and it'll help them defensively, of course. He'll be able to space the floor, hit some threes. I'm a little weary about, he hasn't played all year. I'm weary. Will there be that decline because he's older? I don't anticipate it, but we'll see. But it definitely fills a need for the Bucks, and it's one of those contending trades you see every year where you're like, maybe it'll help, and then you look down the line in the playoffs and you're like, wow, that was huge. That really helped this team get over the top. So we'll see come playoff time if that helps propel them over Boston or Philly.
So yeah, the Clippers acquired Bones Highland from the Denver Nuggets for 2 second round picks.
Hate that trade for the Nuggets. Absolutely hate that trade for the Nuggets, but
yeah, the writing was on the wall for the past couple of days for some reason. They were DMPing him. I don't really get this trade for the Nuggets. I really don't have any more to say to that. I just don't get it. Cool.
I don't understand why he fell out of rotation either. I feel like he was having a good season. Then I was kind of like, we're gonna move you just because.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Clippers were very active in the second half of today. That was the first part. Then they landed Eric Gordon. The Clippers did. In a 3-team deal trade with the Grizzlies and the Rockets. The Rockets, drumroll please, will receive John Wall again and Danny Green. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. John Wall, who was traded there from the Washington Wizards, and I don't think played more than like 20 games there before he got bought out, and then has on multiple occasions talked some serious smack about the Rockets. We'll be going back to the Rockets, and I'm going to be very honest, will more than likely, almost certainly be bought out by the Rockets for the second time. And the Grizzlies got Luke Kennard, and I believe 3 second-round picks from the Clippers.
Ooh, more second-round picks.
I know. I love this trade for the Grizzlies. Luke Kennard, excellent scorer. The one thing the Grizzlies needed was some, not big scoring, but wing scoring for Ja Morant, and they had to trade essentially 3 second-round picks and Danny Green, who I don't think has actually played for them this year. He will also probably get bought out. I don't know that Danny Green's actually played this year. I mean, this is cool for the Clippers as well, I guess. Eric Gordon's a fine scorer now. He's not the man he used to be, but the Clippers needed guards who could score because John Wall couldn't. So, I mean, this is fine. 3-team deals.
Plumlee's a good get for them. Plumlee's
Yeah,
definitely a good get for them.
I think that's yeah. I was getting to that one as well. Clippers
yeah,
ended
my
up
bad,
trading.
my
No,
bad.
you're good. You're good. I think it was just a 1-for-1. I'm not entirely sure. I think it was just Reggie Jackson for Plumlee straight up, is what I'm seeing. But that doesn't necessarily make sense. Let me look into that because that can't be right.
Especially if he's getting bought out. They might have added some seconds to it, like they have been all day. But yeah, Plumlee will be able to split minutes with Zubac, which will be great for that Clippers team because you don't want to put too much of the minutes on Zubac. I don't think they're both fine centers. They're not gonna put you over the top, but they're fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love Plumlee. I think he's an excellent backup big. I would have preferred him going to the Lakers over Mo Bamba, just to be very honest. But I mean, yeah, he and Zubac will both get 25 minutes a game probably, and both play adequately. This Clippers team isn't going anywhere, but that's fine.
I don't know if I would say that yet. I think they still have the potential to make a run, but it's just it depends on so many factors.
Yeah,
obviously
sure.
Paul George and Kawhi being the biggest, but I mean, we say that, but they're the 4th seed right now too. I mean, in a Western Conference that's wide open, I wouldn't count them out.
Yeah. Anyways, Reggie Jackson, like I said to the Hornets, is almost guaranteed to get bought out, and he'll be probably one of the most sought after bought out candidate in my opinion between him, John Wall, and Russell Westbrook. He's honestly a guy that I would love the Celtics to go after. I think they need another wing. I think Reggie Jackson will be excellent for them to come off the bench. So we'll see. I could also see Reggie Jackson going to the Lakers just because the fit kind of works real well. They kind of need. They have a bunch of guards, but I think, let's be honest, he's better than Austin Reeves. He's probably better than Lonnie Walker and Dennis Schroeder at this point too. But we'll see. Kind of rounding out the rest of today. The Hawks just did a weird salary dump. Justin Holiday and Frank Kaminsky to the Rockets for Garrison Matthew and Bruno Fernando. Again, salary dump. This is the first I'm actually seeing this, but the Suns ended up trading for Darius Bazley, and they sent Dario Saric and a second-round pick over to, wow, I'm completely blanking on where Darius Bazley played. Ladies and gentlemen, I am incredibly stupid.
It's okay, us too.
The Thunder, that's where
There
Bazley
you go.
plays.
That's
The
what
Thunder.
I thought, but I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah, so Dario Saric and a second-round pick to Thunder. I would also have to imagine Saric probably gets bought out, but
I don't
you never
think so.
you never know with the Thunder, man. They're weird. Before we get into the other really big one, the end of the day, I'll just go into a few other kind of smaller ones. The Spurs kind of we kind of expected this, traded Josh Richardson to the Pelicans for Devontae Graham and, drumroll please, 4 second-round picks, which is holy hell of an overpay. If it takes 5 to get Jay Crowder, apparently it takes Devontae Graham and 4 to get Josh Richardson, who is a very good 3-and-D player. I like this for Pelicans a lot, to be honest with you. If they can just stay healthy, then that would be a different discussion we have.
Gonna help fill a role for them. He's gonna help the shooting out a lot, but
And we
health is
have
the big concern with that team.
Yeah, we have 2 more trades to get into. One big one, and this one's just downright hysterical. The Golden State Warriors brought back Gary Payton II. They sent over Kevin Knox to the Blazers or Kevin Knox and 5 second-round picks.
5.
5.
Oh, more second-round picks. Who could have seen that one coming?
The Golden State Warriors sent over 5 separate second-round picks for Gary Payton, who,
Yep.
I'll remind everyone, they let walk in free agency.
To be fair, though, to be absolutely fair, they let him walk because they weren't going to be able to pay him. And they kind of went through the season, realized, oh crap, we're not as great defensively without him, and basically brought him back. So I like the move of bringing him back, but it's just 5 second-round picks. I mean, I get it. Second-round picks in the NBA don't matter, but it's just so weird, like, seeing all these. Imagine those are 5 people that are eventually going to enter the league that you traded Gary Payton for. It's just funny. Imagine trading 5 people for Gary Payton II or Jay Crowder.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Thomas Bryant.
Yes, and then the other part of that trade is that the Warriors traded James Wiseman, who we kind of knew for a while they were going to trade. The experiment over there kind of just hasn't worked. They traded him to the Pistons for 5 second-round picks and Sadiq Bey. I'm sorry. They traded Wiseman and Sadiq Bey straight up, I believe. And the Pistons were like the Hawks entered it as like a third surrogate. And then Sadiq Bey, instead of going to the Warriors where he should have gone, the Warriors redirected Sadiq Bey to the Hawks for 5 second-round picks.
And then they flipped those 5 for Gary Payton. So just overall.
So just to be very clear, the Warriors, who started with James Wiseman, traded James Wiseman to the Pistons, who then traded Sadiq Bey over to the Warriors. Then the Hawks and the Warriors traded Sadiq Bey and 5 second-round picks. So the Hawks are major winners and ended up with Sadiq Bey for 5 second-round picks, and the Pistons ended up with James Wiseman. Okay. So then the Warriors then flipped those 5 second-round picks for Gary Payton. So they traded James Wiseman for Gary Payton, or
They
another way
already
you could
had.
look, yes, or you could look at it as they traded Sadiq Bey, who is a much better scoring guard, for Gary Payton. Not
Yeah,
really.
but this team needed defense. Though,
Oh, I
so
know.
get
It's just incredibly stupid. The way they went about it is just incredibly stupid. So yeah, I mean that's kind of your 2022-2023 trade deadline. The next fallout from this is buyouts. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's already been confirmed that both Reggie Jackson, John Wall, and Westbrook are all going to get bought out. And so now it's a... Oh, this is now the first time I'm seeing that Mahomes won the MVP, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, the NFL honors was going on.
No, I knew they
Mahomes won
were.
MVP.
I didn't see that the MVP came out though.
Shout
yeah.
out Mahomes.
I mean
Shout
that
out
that's
Mahomes.
just. I didn't really want to talk about the NFL today, really at all. But that's not very surprising, just to be very honest with the way things were going. But yeah, just to kind of close out the NBA.
No. There's still more to talk about the NBA.
Well, we forget. Oh, buyouts were the.
No, there was 2 major things that happened in the game the other day. One, Russell Westbrook just became the 10th overall man with assist overall in the NBA, most scoring, and LeBron just won most. What's it called? Not one.
He became the leading
Yeah.
scorer in NBA history. Shout out LeBron. Shout out LeBron. But yeah, we'll wrap out this trade deadline. Overall, just insane madness. I mean, it's what we all wanted from a trade deadline. It's the best time of the year. They always say Christmas is the best time of the year. No, they're wrong. It's trade deadline because we love to see the NBA shuffled up. We like to see the madness, and that's what we got.
No, we most definitely got that.
Yeah, no,
But
pure madness. There are some very clear winners in the Suns. The Lakers, even though I feel like they could have done a little bit more with some of those second day trades. That trade yesterday for D'Lo, Vanderbilt, and Beasley is just so good that it really didn't matter what they did after that point. Very clear winners. As far as what it looks like going forward, the only real trades that I see having significant overall change, like as a significant impact, the Kevin Durant trade, for obvious reasons. I really don't see the Kyrie trade having a significant impact in the overall trajectory of that Mavs team. Just to be very honest, I don't think it really raises the ceiling too high on them. Um, Cleveland's obviously going to fall off. It's weird that Miami kind of just stood pat and did nothing, when literally every other team besides Cleveland did nothing. But every
You
other
mean
team,
Cleveland? You mean Chicago?
no, Cleveland also did nothing.
Oh, I mean, I wasn't expecting them to do nothing.
No, but I no, but
To
what
do
I'm
anything.
saying
I
is
mean,
it's weird that Miami and Cleveland did just absolutely nothing, considering everyone else above them did. Boston got a need in
okay.
their big. The Milwaukee Bucks went ahead and got their shooter that they needed. The Sixers got a
I
bench
got you.
big
I
that they
got
needed
you.
who can score. The Nets did something for sure. It's really but it's becoming very clear that in the East it's a 3-man race. I don't really see any other team even coming close to them. It's gonna be Sixers,
No,
Milwaukee, or Boston. Um,
most
as
certainly.
fun as Cleveland is, no. They it's just they they don't
They're
have
too
the
young.
they're too young. They don't have the overall depth. The Nets were an interesting team until last night. And Miami is just not working for some reason. Kyle Lowry's regressing. The shooting just hasn't been there. Jimmy Butler's there, obviously, but they're a dangerous playoff team. Don't get me wrong, but they just haven't looked the part. The Knicks can't decide if they want to Knicks or if they want to actually play basketball half the time. The Hawks have just been a straight dysfunction this year. Chicago needs to blow it up, and they're easy losers this year. Vucevic is expiring, and you're barely going to make the play. I don't know why they didn't just trade Vucevic. And Toronto again, we'll see what's going on with them going forward. But it's a 3-man race in this Eastern Conference going forward. I don't think it's any. I just don't see any other team besides those top three even coming close.
Yeah, and for the West, it's actually
A
probably the
crapshoot.
opposite. Like, there are 7 teams that if you told me, like, yeah, 4 months from now, that team's in the finals, I'd believe you. There's,
Golden State, New Orleans, Phoenix, Clippers, Dallas, Memphis, Denver. I love Sacramento. I love what they're doing. They're not making the finals.
I know, but they can make a conference finals. I wouldn't believe if someone from the future came and told me they made the conference finals. I'd believe that. I mean,
No.
they've been great this year.
But Portland's not barely gonna. Portland's
No,
isn't even
no.
gonna make the play in at this rate. The Timberwolves aren't gonna go anywhere. They might not even make the play in. Golden State is their Golden State, man. You can just never discount. I know they're 9th seed right now, but come playoff time, man, we saw what happened last year. New Orleans, if they get
Mhm.
healthy, is a very scary team. Phoenix, again, healthy, ridiculously scary. Clippers have every opportunity to be a top 3 team in this Western Conference and consistently let me down. Dallas, we'll
It's
see how
gonna
that
be weird
Kyrie
with Dallas.
experiment plays. John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies is a fun team. I love it. I think that they are
I don't think it's their time yet.
no, I think that
I
they're
think they're a piece
probably
away.
an upset in the first and second round just because it's so young. And I really want this to be Denver's year. I would really love to see Denver kind of make the NBA
The
finals.
finals, yeah.
It'd be interesting. But we'll see. Uh fun trade deadline, like you said, really reshapes a couple teams. But I think the only major impact it has is going to be on the Suns and the Sixers.
But of course, like smaller deals too, like Jay Crowder to the Bucks will have an impact in that
Significant,
sense.
sure.
But
I
like
don't think it changes their trajectory.
No, I get what you're saying though. No game breaking,
It doesn't change their
which
trajectory, to be honest with you. It's just better to
but we'll
happen
see.
there.
I mean, I think like we were stating earlier, I assume Portland falls off and the Lakers probably get into the
Yeah, at this
at
rate,
least top 10.
the biggest storyline is can the Lakers, like going into the next 27 games, the biggest storyline is can the Lakers manage to make the play-in. As of
Mhm.
right now, they are beating the Bucks, I believe, without LeBron. But it's a very minuscule lead they have right now. Um, we'll see what happens going forward, but that's the biggest storyline that I have going into the end of the season, at least. Is
Mhm.
can the Lakers somehow manage to make the play-in? I would have to assume that they make the play-in. It's honestly, it's an embarrassment if they can't even make the play-in at this rate with
Oh, of course,
all the talent they just got.
especially with the Jazz kind of jumping ship and saying, we'll go bottom out for Victor," and Portland giving away everyone. Poor Damian Lillard, man. Poor Damian Lillard. But
Free my
so
man Dame.
they should be in the top 10. They should be in the play-in, and then 1 through 10 is just insanity for the West. It's gonna be fun. These playoffs are gonna be super fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. Any closing thoughts from either of you?
hmm I still think it's a really big accomplishment LeBron just did. Like, I know you don't care because you're not a LeBron fan, but that
Oh, it's a big accomplishment. It's probably never going to get broken again, just to be very honest with you. Or at least
yeah,
it'll probably be another 30, 40, 50 years before we see anyone come close. There's no one in the
yeah.
NBA right now who I see even coming close to it. Just to be very honest.
You got to come in as a rookie and just start going strong without injuries, stay
It's
healthy,
an
stuff like
insane
that.
accomplishment. It doesn't tip the scales any different way, in my opinion. He's still number 2, overall player. So, I mean,
That's a
eh,
fun. That's always a fun debate, but I think I have to agree.
That's a debate for another time.
it's not a debate, in my opinion.
It's a
But
debate for another time.
yeah, sure, it's not a debate though.
I'll see you
Uh,
with the top 10 list.
That'll be fun in the future. But
yeah, sure. He's on
no,
mine.
um, closing thoughts though. I mean, obviously, fun trade deadline. Super Bowl is this Sunday. We can't wait, or I can't wait. I don't know how you guys feel, but I
I
can't
can't
wait.
watch it.
You're you gotta find a way, Tarique, man. You have to.
Dude,
That is so
Michael,
killer.
we're practicing.
Your coach needs to be fined or
My
something,
coach is a Ravens fan. We're
making
not going to
y'all
watch this.
making y'all practice during Super Bowl Sunday is an
He's a
absolute
Ravens
It's
fan.
crime.
We're not going
practice.
anywhere.
We're really
We
talking
talking
about
about practice.
practice.
But nah, obviously on our next podcast we'll be going over the Super Bowl. You'll either see me over ecstatic with joy or playing Marvin's Room sad and depressed. There will be no in between.
I'll send you my playlist.
But yeah, overall thank you for joining us on this podcast. It's been fun. It's been fun. It's been a journey. We want to thank you all for tuning in and watching. Please like, subscribe, share the video. It helps us out a ton. We
Follow
want to
our
be able to
Instagram.
build this into something big, something, something great. So we can't do that without y'all. So please help us in this journey. It's been fun. So we want to keep at it.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you
and
for
if you
everyone
want to
who
see
tuned
news
in first
faster,
week.
follow the Instagram.
Yep, we're on Instagram, Twitter. We're getting Spotify, Apple set up, so
We have
we'll have
Twitter?
those. Yeah, in the process of setting it up. Once this goes live, it'll be set up. But yeah, so we'll have those all in our social. But yeah, thank you for this. Thank you for tuning in. And any other remarks from you guys?
Good
No,
talk.
I'll no. I'm gonna close it out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently attempting to find the list of things that I just saw. Where in the love of God did it go? Um, the Hall of Fame was just announced for the NFL. So the
It
20
was.
Yes, so the 2023 class, not surprising any names. Jarrell Revis, famous New England Patriot, Revis Island, dude was an absolute beast in his day. DeMarcus Ware, great edge rusher, Hall of Fame. Joe Thomas, one of the best offensive tackles
Joe
to ever play the
Thomas.
goddamn game. Rondé Barber, Joe
Ooh.
Joe Klecko, Zach Thomas, Ken Riley, Chuck Howley, Ryan Coryell were all named to the NFL Hall of Fame. So that's exciting
Big
news.
list.
Congratulations to those guys. The big surprise, in my opinion, is that in his second year of eligibility, Devin Hester has not made it into the Hall of Fame yet.
Oh
That's a
wow.
return
I
man
know a lot of
himself.
I know a lot of people kind of crap on skills or like punt returners, basically players of that sort, but he's the best at his position. I think he should be in
He
consideration.
most definitely led that Bears team for a while.
Yeah, I would be. I'm gonna be genuinely shocked if he doesn't make it overall. But congratulations to all those gentlemen who made the NFL Hall of Fame. We'll probably talk about just very briefly next week of the NFL honors that all just came out. We don't really have time this week. No real surprises, just in general, in my opinion. But yeah, we got the Super Bowl coming Sunday, so we will see you next week after the fallout from that. Um, God, I just hope the Eagles win. I cannot handle another Mahomes Super Bowl.
Oh, I'll
I can't
take it.
wait
I'll
to
take
finish
that.
practice and see who won.
It's
No.
practice. We're talking
Practice, bro.
about
You
practice.
gotta pull up that Allen Iverson clip and just show your coach. Just be like, we're talking about practice. Come on.
Dude, I'll never touch the field again if I show my coach that.
So it's a
What
win-win.
talking about?
Yeah. Your coach, your coach,
So
man,
you're
he's just tuning
saying
into the
there's a
podcast.
chance. All right, though. Enough clowning and goofing around from you boys. Thank you again. We will see you next week.